Principle of Management, Part 8. 14 Fundamental Principles of Management formulated by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol, a famous industrialist of France, has described 14 principles of management in his book General and Industrial Management. Explaining the difference between principles and elements, he makes it clear that the principles of management are fundamentally true and establish a relation between cause and effect, while the element of management point towards its functions. While presenting the principle of management, Fayol has kept two things in mind. Firstly, the list of principles of management should be long, but it should be suggestive, and only those principles should be explained which become applicable in most of the situation. Secondly, the principle of management should be flexible and not rigid so that the changes can be made in them in case of need. The 14 principles given by Fayol are as under: division of work. This principle of Fayol tells us that as far as possible the whole work should be divided into different parts and each individual should be assigned only one part of the work according to his ability and taste rather than giving the whole work to one person. When a particular individual performs the same job repeatedly, he will become an expert in doing that particular part of the whole job. Consequently, the benefit of specialization will become available. For example, a furniture manufacturer gets an order for manufacturing 100 lecture stands. He has 5 workers who will do the job. There are two ways to complete this order. First, every worker should be asked to complete 20 lecture stands. The second method can be distributed different part of the lecture, stands, legs, top board, center support, assembling and polishing to all the 5 workers in the manner that only one worker does the same job for all the 100 lecture stand. Your Fayol indication is to the second way to do this job and not the former one. Authority and responsibility. According to this principle, authority and responsibility should go hand in hand. It means that when a particular individual is given a particular work and he is made responsible for the result, this can be possible only when he is given sufficient authority to discharge his responsibility. It is not proper to make a person responsible for any work in the absence of authority. In the word of Fayol, the result of authority is responsibility. It is a natural result of authority and essentially other aspect of authority. And whenever authority is used, responsibility are automatically born. For example, the CEO of the company has doubled the sales target of the sales manager for the coming year. To achieve this target, the authority for appointing necessary sales representative, advertising according to the need, etc. shall have to be allowed. In case these things are not allowed, the sales manager cannot be held responsible for naught. Discipline. Discipline is essential for any successful work performance. Fayol considered discipline to mean obedience, respect of authority, and observance of established rule. Discipline can be established by providing good supervision at all levels, clearly explaining the rules and implementing a system of reward and punishment. A manager can present a good example to his subordinate by disciplining himself. Unity of command. According to the principle of unity of command, an individual employee should receive order from only one superior at a time, and that employee should be answerable only to that superior. If there are many superiors giving order to the same employee, he will not be able to decide as to which order is to be given priority. He thus finds himself in a confused situation. Such a situation adversely affects the efficiency of the subordinate. On the other hand, when there are many superiors, every superior could like his order to be given priority. This ego problem creates a possibility of clash. Consequently, their own efficiency is likely to be affected. Unity of command and unity of direction. In this connection, Fayol feels that the efficient running of an organization, the unity of direction is important while the unity of command is important to enhance the efficiency of the employees. Subordinate of individual interest to general interest. This principle can be named priority to general interest over individual interest. According to the principle, the general interest or the interest of the organization is above everything. If one is asked to place individual interest and the general interest in order of priority, definitely the general interest will be placed at the first place. For example, if manager takes some decision which harms him personally but result in the general profit to the company, he should certainly give priority to the interest of the company and take the decision accordingly. On contrary, if some decision helps the manager personally but result in a great loss of the company, then such a decision should never be taken. For example, a purchase manager of a company has to purchase 100 tons of raw material. His son has to be a supplier along with other supplier in the market. The manager purchased the raw material from the firm of his son at a rate higher than the market rate. This will profit the manager personally, but the company will incur heavy losses. This situation is undesirable. Seventh principle is remunerations to employee. Fayol is of the opinion that the employee should get a fair remuneration so that employees and the owner find equal amount of satisfaction. It is the duty of a manager to ensure that the employees are being paid remuneration according to their work. If, however, they are not paid properly for their work, they will not do their work with perfect dedication, honesty, and capacity. As a result, the organization shall have to face failure. Proper remuneration depends on some factor like cost of living, demand of labor, and their ability. Fayol feels that in order to motivate the employees apart from general remuneration, they should be given some monetary and non-monetary incentives. For example, suppose that the things are getting dearer and the company is getting good profit. In such a situation, the remuneration of the employee should be increased even without their asking. If this is not done, the employees will leave the company at the first opportunity. Expansions shall have to be incurred on new recruitment, which shall bring loss to the company. It is centralization and decentralization. According to this principle, the superior should adopt effective centralization instead of complete centralization and complete decentralization. By effective centralization, Fayol does not mean the authority should be completely centralized. He feels that the superior should keep the authority of taking important decisions in their own hand, while the authority to take daily decisions and decisions of less importance should be delegated to the subordinate. The ratio of a centralization and decentralization can differ in different situations. For example, it is advantageous or to have more centralized in a small business unit and more decentralized in a big business unit. For example, the decision in respect of determining the objective and policy, expansion of business, etc. should remain in the hand of the superior. On the other hand, authority for the purchase of raw material, granting leave to the employee, etc. should be delegated to the subordinate. Positive effect: decrease in the workload of superior, better and quick decision, increase in the encouragement to the subordinate. Then violating effect, unnecessary increase in the workload of the superior in case of centralization and of the subordinate in case of decentralization. Impatient and wrong decision by the superior in case of complete centralization and weak decision by the subordinate in case of a complete decentralization. Decline in the encouragement to subordinate in case of complete centralization. Scalar chain. Meaning of scalar chain. It refers to the formal line of authority which moves from highest to the lowest rank in the straight line. Fayol opinion, the chain must be followed in a strict manner. It means each communication must move from top to bottom and vice versa in a straight line. The important condition here is that no step should be overlooked during communication. Fayol's ladder. Fayol has explained this principle with the help of ladder. For example, in a company, the employee F want to contact with the employee P. According to the principle of scalar chain, F shall have to reach A through the medium of A, B, C, B, and then having contact with L, M, N, O shall reach P. Thus, F shall have to taken the help of all the 9 steps to have business contact with P. Utility. Due to more clear system of authority and communication, problem can be solved faster. Gangplank. It is the expectations of the principle of scalar chain. This concept was developed to establish a direct contact with the employee of equal rank in case of emergency to avoid delay in communication. For example, as shown in a diagram, employee F can have a direct contact with the employee P, but for doing so, employee F and P shall have to seek their prior permission of their immediate boss E and O. The detail of their talk shall have to given to them. So this is the exceptions of the gang plan. Order. According to the principle of order, a right person should be placed at the right job, at the right thing should be placed at the right place. According to the Fayol, every enterprise should have a two different order, material order for physical resource and social order for human resource. Keeping the physical resource in order means that the proper place for everything and everything is in its right place. Similarly, keeping the human resources in order means a place for everyone and everyone is in appointed place. Maintaining this two order properly will ensure that everybody knows his workplace, what is to be done and from where he could get his required material. Consequently, all the available resources in the organization will be utilized properly. Equity. The person tells that the manager should treat their subordinate in a just and kind manner so that they develop a feeling of dedication and attachment for their work. All the employees should be treated equally and impartially. Fayol tells us in connection with this principle that there should not be any equality of treatment between a person whose work is really good and a person who is shrieker by nature. Rather than latter should be treated sternly, doing so would be equitably. It is because of this point of view that Taylor has presented his differential remuneration method. Stability of person. From the point of view of management, it is absolutely harmful to change the employees frequently, as it is a reflection of insufficient management. Therefore, according to this principle, there should be a stability of tenure of the employees so that the work continues efficiently. Fayol thinks that instability in the tenure of employee is a cause of poor management and result. High rate of labor turnover will result in increased expenses because of selecting them time and again and giving them training afresh. It also lowers the prestige of the organization and create a feeling of insecurity among the employees which keeps them busy in finding out new avenues of work. Consequently, the sense of dedication cannot be treated among them. For example, it is true that if workers in a company are not treated well and the atmosphere in the company is also unhealthy, the employees will not stay for a long time. In other words, they will leave the company at the first opportunity available. This situation is absolutely harmful. For example, a laborer completes 10 units of good in a day. Another laborer who helps to be relative of the superior completes 8 units but both get equal remuneration. This violates the principles of equality. The second laborer should get less remuneration than the first one. Initiative. Initiative means the capacity to work while expressing one's thoughts. According to the Fayol, it is the duty of a manager to encourage the feeling of initiative among the employees for doing some work or taking some decision, but within the limit of authority and discipline. It is possible only when the manager will welcome the thoughts of his or subordinate. By doing so, the subordinates will present new and useful ideas time and again, and gradually they will become an integral part of the organization. In order to make this process a successful, a manager will have to be abandon his false sense of prestige. For example, a salesman suggests to his sales manager to implement new advertisement technique. The sales manager sent him away by telling him that it is not possible and ignored the suggestion altogether. In such a situation, the salesman who is not been admonished and belittled will never venture to offer any suggestion in future because his desire of taking initiative has been suppressed. On the contrary, if the suggestion had been listed too carefully, even though not to be implemented, he could not take the courage to offer some suggestion in future. Such an action could simply have encouraged his initiative. Positive effect. Increase in the thinking power of the employees, cooperation of the employees in implementing decision, increase the sense of attachment of the organization volunteering effect, decline in the thinking power of the employees, an atmosphere of a non-cooperation, decline in the employees' attachment of the company. These are all the positive effects. Esprit de corps. As per this principle, a manager should continuously make effort to develop a team spirit among the subordinates. To this, she should be the word we instead of doing the conversation with subordinates. These were all 14 principles of Henry Fayol, which we follow in today's era for a management of the work in the organization. So in part 9, we'll cover scientific management. Till then, happy learning. Thank you.